Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. Lawrence Akers here, and I'm here with the awesome Clive Girdham. And we wanted to chat a bit today about the Course Accelerator. No, it's the Course Development Accelerator.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
whatever you want it to be.
yeah. And that's happening on Saturday the 26th and Sunday the 27th of November. But we thought it might be a good opportunity just to talk a little bit about it so people can get a really good idea of what this really exciting workshop is all about. So, Clive, thanks for the time to chat today.
Cool.
Can you perhaps tell us a little bit about what people can expect from this particular workshop?
Yeah, sure. Look, what it really is a consolidation of all the work I've been doing over the last maybe 6 years in where I've been putting together courses, and I've done it various different formats. And first of all, I had no idea about how to put a course together, so I sort of bumbled through it. And that was my very first one, which was my smoking cessation course. Um, And then over the years, I've done various bits of training with people such as Sam Ovens and Aaron Fletcher, and specifically the Fletcher method. And what this now is everything I've learned along the way, but instead of doing it the old manual way, which pretty much everyone does anyway, I'm using Aaron's AI platform, artificial intelligence platform, and what that is effectively a he's codified his process into a artificial intelligence model. What that means is you put the right ingredients in and you bake the right cake, and it auto generates. And so I taught this over a year, over the last year in a group. I had 15 people in a particular group, and all creating their courses. And I learned a lot along the way about what works, what doesn't work, where the confusions are, where the objections are. And then I thought, hell, I reckon I could do this in a weekend now. And so I've recently been in New Zealand, and I was in New Zealand for a 2-day workshop. And effectively, what we did was what I took everyone through over a year. But it wasn't that, it wasn't so much work anymore. But I've noticed the difference is when I'm actually there with people face to face, we get things done.
Mm.
What happens when you're in a group online, purely online, is okay, we'll catch up next Friday on a Zoom or something. And people don't do stuff.
No,
So
I
that's
find that
really,
as
as a course
well.
creator, that's really
It
frustrating.
tends to fall a bit by the wayside, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And as somebody who puts a lot of effort and work into creating courses, I want to see people generate something that they're really, really proud of. So the whole intention is to help hypnotherapists not be a hypnotherapist with the title. So, for example, you might be a hypnotherapist who deals with smoking cessation or anxiety or depression, and someone's searching for you on Google, and up come all the hypnotherapists. But what doesn't come up is the the anxiety buster coach,
Mm.
or the kick butt coach, or wake up to a happier day coach, or something like that. And so automatically you lose that title hypnotherapist, which, by the way, I speak to hypnotherapists and they're a little bit nervous about saying I'm a hypnotherapist.
Mm.
Also, people don't like calling themselves coach because that's a lot. People think of lifestyle coach. But when you put in a particular problem into your title, such as, for example, I've got a lady in New Zealand who's creating a weight loss program, and it's a very lazy way of losing weight, and hers is the lazy hotness coach. So it's how to look effectively, look hot the lazy way. Now, what does that mean? It means that you can incorporate multiple modalities into your course. It just doesn't have to be just hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
It can be education. It could be tasking. It could be multiple things, which when you present in a very simple pictorial format, people see exactly the journey they're going to go on.
Mm.
And when people can see the journey, they understand where they are right now and when they come out the other side, what that might look like. And so it's a really graphical way using this software to get people to be able to go, boom, this is what we're doing. And I'll show you a few examples later on. So what they can expect after like 2 days, basically wrapping up on the Sunday, they'll have a very, very solid outline draft of their course, plus the ability to create dozens and dozens of auto-generated emails, adverts, visual roadmaps, lead magnets, and a I think it's a 300 slide course. So and I know for a fact no one's going to do that because they don't know, they get bogged down. This is an automated structured framework which does it for you, and all you do then is go in and tweak the words.
I was speaking to someone recently who had that exact problem and who was saying she wanted to create a course around anxiety, wanted to take what she did and do it online, but trying to figure out how to piece that all together was really overwhelming for her. And this would be perfect for that. She can just break it down into bit by bit and get the assets created at the same time.
I guess what I bring to that group environment is my ability to spin words and to provoke and challenge and actually get people really thinking outside the box. You know, there's plenty of people who use GrowthWorks, but you know, it's like having a Lamborghini, but you've only just passed your P's. But when you're in the trenches just doing it, I've been doing this. Okay, so I've done one workshop. I've done a year-long group of 15. I've got individual clients. I've got a very, very well-known client who I can't speak on here, but he's a out-of-the-box thinker, and I've been hired by him to create something brand new out of the box, and we're both working within this platform. And when you've got this all together, and I've been doing this across a range of problems, not just the typical presenting problems of anxiety and whatever else. There's things like, you know, I'll give you an example: a driving school or a language school. So that's what I've been doing with all these different things outside of therapy. And it's the same process. And just the ability to have a talking point on paper in front of you or visual really sells people. So for example, I had a client who she was struggling with ideas around motherhood. And I said, you know what? I wish you could get in touch with this person, but she doesn't do online. But let me just give you a glimpse of her course. And I pulled up what we call the roadmap, which is basically step by step by step what was included. And she just looked at it, her face drained, and said, "Oh my God, I want that." So it's being able to create that impact, and you can demonstrate to people that you've actually thought about it and you've got something, as opposed to, oh yeah, I help people with motherhood. Right? Really? Okay. How do you do that? So it's structure, which I'm well renowned for not having structure, but now I've got structure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Don't agree. Don't have to agree.
Is it worth perhaps showing anyone?
Yeah, sure. What I'll do, first of all, I'm just going to have a think before I share my screen what I can show you, because it will be a bit unprofessional of me to show you other people's work. But what I will show you is, firstly, I'll show you some examples I've put together, and there's and you'll be able to see instantaneously what that is, or how this actually looks. So let me just navigate to the correct window, because I don't want to be showing some other stuff. Okay, here we go. Now, just let me know whether or not this is going to be large enough for you to see. So I recently did this course. I did this course online with, I mean, in fact, yourself. You were on it.
I was there. Right.
And this is all I used to effectively publicize what I was doing. I called it the reality coaching program. Basically, I help people see their current reality and shift them towards their desired reality. So, you know, think of current situation, future situation. It's very NLP. And this is how we did it. And so weeks 1 and 2, weeks 3 and 4, weeks 5, and these were the topics. Now, that's not the course. The course itself is buried within my online program. And so I would produce modules based on this stuff. And then people can see immediately what they're going to get. And if it's of interest, because it might not be of interest, you know, they might not be bothered. But if I look at some of the other ones which I've put together, and let me go back to, let's pick another one. New Zealand. So this is what I did for New Zealand to sell to the that's not that one. Sorry. To get the people in New Zealand interested, I need to go back here, back. Let's go here. So effectively, people go, "Oh wow, what are you doing? What does it involve?" And this is in fact the Course Development Accelerator, which we talked about at the beginning. So this is just a catchy title, that's the promise. Course development. Well, let's not hang around doing it for 5 years. Let's just get on with it and get it done. And the way I did it, because it was in New Zealand, it was a combination of online and face-to-face over a weekend. So phase one was the online foundations, where we go through the terminology, we meet and greet, go through some of the terminology, and I gave them a little bit of pre-work to bring to the workshop. Then I'm using the metaphor here of cooking a cake. So we better wash our hands first of all. We start mixing the cake and we start baking the cake. And this involves entering information into the platform. Typically, who do you want to work with? What sort of price are you looking at? How long's the course going to be? Let's give it a name. Who don't you want to work with? And stuff like this. So you basically put in the right ingredients, you fine tune them, and then you click go, which was on day 2, which is creating the assets. Now, GrowthWorks uses a terminology, an asset. So from your base ingredients, you can create multiple. Well, it calls them assets. I'd call them courses. No. It's like it creates the smorgasbord.
Yeah.
All the different assets within that smorgasbord. And then I finished the whole thing off with a way to actually easily do marketing without all that Facebook pixeling paid advertising rubbish. Because I work on relationships these days. I don't use social media for any form of marketing. I might use email every now and then, but most of it is relationships that I form with people. And there's a way of doing that which no one else is doing. And so that then removes the big hurdle that people have about, well, if I make something, how am I going to get it out there? It's like, that's what stops people moving forward. That's what stops them going, oh, I don't know how to advertise. I don't know anything about marketing. So why bother making a course? How will anyone ever find this? That's one of the biggest objections and stumbling blocks right at the beginning of when they're thinking about, I know I've got a course within me, but I just don't know how to get it out. And so they don't. So that's a huge objection that people have. And I've come across it time by time by time. Now, you might know David Key.
Mm-hmm. Yep, NLP, okay. Very well-known NLP trainer.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of his Ultimate Coach Reactivation Program. Mm-hmm. So he's got I think it's 6 weeks. Or is it 9 weeks? Can't remember. This is basically anyone who's done his programs over the last few years, he's created a course called the Reactivation Program. Basically, hey, come back and we'll do I'll help you step by step to put together your own very simple 9-module course or 8-module course, what to say in it, everything else. This is it. So it's when you see something visual, it's such a useful selling point. Now, I'll show you Mel's because Mel is user-friendly. And it's this is the thing about this. So this is the interface that you're looking at right now. Now, I have got what's called a coaching area. So I don't really want to show you all these who are in it, but I'm just going to go in and look at the Mel's. And this is Mel. This is Mel, the lazy hotness coach. And it really aligns so well to her. She's got this cheeky way about her. There's a few things she hasn't finished yet. But basically, she was at the workshop with me, and I was showing her all this stuff that I do. And I says, I'm just lazy. I don't like doing stuff the hard way. And she goes, oh my God, I can do the lazy way to look hot.
It's a great title. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Speaks to me. I love it. I'd
Yeah,
jump in
and
straight away.
it completely aligns with her cheekiness, because she's a really cheeky young lady who is, but she incorporates hypnotherapy,
So there's
tasking,
mindfulness there as well.
yeah, also massage. She's got other modalities as well. I can't remember, but she doesn't just do hypnotherapy, but she can intercede hypnotherapy into all these different areas, along with education, because a lot of times people don't know how to get somewhere or how to start something. So it can be a little bit of an education process.
What I really like about this as well is that it's, you know how you look at some programs and you have absolutely no idea what the hell's going to happen. Nothing at all. And with this, you can get a real sense of what's going to happen without giving away too much.
Yeah, and I'll show you.
Oh, yeah, this sounds like something I can identify with based even just on those points.
So if I just go back to me, and I'll pick up the I'll pick up my one of my fictitious courses. I'm going to go here. And by the way, when somebody's in the in here, when we go into the coaching section, it enables you to actually interact within the chat, and I can go in and review, and you can ask questions. So you do it completely remotely.
So and how do people have access to this?
Well, the thing is, they get lifetime access, and it's free. Once I set them up in there, it's just an email. And I'll just stop sharing my screen a second, because there's something I don't really want you to see when I do this. Oops, that's not that one. I'll just go in and just set it up. And what it means is so for example, Mel's in New Zealand. Okay. So in fact, I had a call with her last night, and we were going through her stuff, and we were both looking at the same thing. So it just means that I can make comments. I can actually make comments just like I'm commenting on someone's work or something, Now, I'll come back to that, because I'm just, the interface just changed a little bit, and I'm just thinking, where's that navigation button gone? And I don't want to waste time. So just ask me a couple of questions while I'm just figuring this one out.
Jeez, put me on a spot. Let me think.
No. So look, the people that would benefit, basically the people that would benefit from this are people such as the people who know they've got a course within them. Yeah. That's the difference. They've got a course within them, and that course is something which they thought about, and they've seen that what other people are doing, and they just know they can do it better.
Yeah.
That's the big one for me. And it's not about plagiarizing, like, oh yeah, someone's done virtual gastric band, I'll do my own virtual gastric band. No, it's not. That's not what it is at all. What it is about putting, and what I always do, take my modified rewind, for example, where I fully credit people like Matt Tyrrell and everyone else. But it's my modified rewind. I call it a modified rewind. And I put my elements into it. Now, you might have a weight loss course, but if yours is the same as everyone else's, there's no secret sauce in there, which makes it a little bit, okay, you become a commodity whereby people then begin to shop around, which is, how should we say? There's no advantage in it.
Yeah.
Now, if I go back to my other course, where have we gone here? My original one, which was New Zealand, was the one I showed you. Okay, now let me just share my screen now. Share screen. Now, some of your people might have read the email that you sent out. Okay. This generated it automatically. I'll show you what I mean by create an asset. It's effectively, you go through 3 stages. This is where you input your ingredients. Yeah, you input all your ingredients, everything about the customer, the course, the problems they're having, that sort of stuff. And then it creates what's called a design studio, which is that pictorial kind of thing. And then once you've put everything in, and you see here, this is 79%, not 100. So I only did this very quickly just to give you something, or give New Zealand something. I can go and create an asset. And it's telling me, look, you haven't completed it. I'm going, okay, whatever, just show me anyway. And these are the different assets that it can create now from the information that I've input. So it can create a complete course. It can create, they call it, it's a bit American, Ninja Nurture sequence emails. It creates about 57 of those. I sent you the FAQ. It can create little lead magnets, sales scripts, video scripts, booking application. Oh, hooks and headlines. What are hooks and headlines? These are catchy kind of things for, like, so if I just click launch, it might not do it because I'm not fully complete. Oh, but it has. It's now building for each step along the way of my roadmap. So, for example, it's producing all these catchy headlines, risky and costly mistakes. The number one mistakes hypnotherapists, trainers, and trainers must avoid. Is confusion preventing you from reaching your preparation? I don't know what. It's just taken words, but it's created all these different hooks. That some people won't like the hard sell, but you don't have to. Something like top 5 reasons.
Yeah.
Top questions, that sort of stuff. But when I look at the emails, for example, which is the one that I did for you. When I look at the emails, it's now creating 27 emails. So, and here they are, right? It's populated these templates with elements that you've entered. So, for example, the one which I sent to you, which was just this one, FAQ. It's created the FAQ, all of this. And it's taken what they think is the relevant information from what you've already entered. But the whole point is everything's editable. If you don't like this, if you don't like that, or that's a bit too, you just cut it out. Okay. So, finally, there'll be ongoing online support through a private Facebook group, Zoom, and calls to check on progress. Well, that is something I put in the ingredients. And that was the email that I sent to you with my edits in for you to send to your people. So it's super, super useful. And all these assets are effectively the marketing and information which you would never create by yourself. And these, it's creating, Facebook ad builders. It's actually got one.
Ebook builders,
yeah. And people, and what I noticed is people want everything now. And here's a little, I think Facebook ad. Look, so right now it's created this Facebook ad. Okay, for my reality coaching problem thing. So I just change that thing. I'll use it. I'll use one of the assets it's created, which is that Course Development Accelerator. And all of a sudden, that's a template for a Facebook ad, which when you click, and you can insert hyperlinks and everything else. So one of the keys of advertising, it's called ad sent. So what you're offering, what you show in an advert needs to look like what you actually deliver. It's no good having a picture of a dog and you deliver a cat. So it's consistent all the way through the different steps that is in your course. So it's pretty damn cool. And I'm confident that I can get a group of people to have pretty much fully populated their setup within 2 days with meaningful stuff to the point where they can just generate their course and they can generate their emails, their adverts, you name it. And having the remote coaching ability when you're in a coaching, if you were in here right now, I could click in coaching, find you, go into your area, leave you a note on the specific item, and there'll be a hyperlink that when you click on it, it takes you to that specific item. So you're not going, what's he talking about there? Yeah. It's super smart.
And so my understanding is that with this particular workshop, we're going to have a Facebook group set up initially, so people can chat all that sort of thing. We've got the 2 days as well. I think you're offering a bit of support after that as well to make sure people can get up.
I have a very, very standard modus operandi for most things that I do. Pretty much most of my courses have a Facebook group, just like, you know, hopefully it can build a little bit of community and can ask random questions in there and check in, and people can check on each other's progress. But I also have a weekly Zoom. And then depending on the nature of what I'm doing, there'll be some content. Now, in this case, because it's a workshop, the content is the workshop. Now, what I did in New Zealand, which worked really well, as I said before, was like 1 week before introductions. I'll just show you what we're going to do. I'll just you know, clarify any confusions you might have. And then that way, when we start on Saturday, you've done a little bit of pre-work, and you might bring some more further questions. So you hit the ground running on day one. Now thereafter, you know, there's support to a point. I mean, I'm depending whether or not I like you, really, how many times I speak to you. But generally, I'm over generous and talk to people forever. I can't shut up sometimes.
Yeah.
But with New Zealand, for example, I finished the workshop in New Zealand, and then we've probably had about 4 group calls, and I must have done 4 or 5 individual calls as well with people there. And also I can go in and online and have a look and then just leave some notes. So it's all about commitment to do it, because what frustrates me, and I'm sure it frustrates you, is people just get shiny object syndrome, turn up to a course, learn the next thing, then go off, don't implement, and then say, oh yeah, I already know that. And, you know, I've been creating courses since late 2016, when I once spoke to Rob McNeely, and he said, how are you busy? I said, no, I'm not that busy at the moment. He goes, well, you better start making a product then, haven't you? And so I've created, you know, smoking cessation, modified rewind, multiple different groups, next level hypnotherapy training, ultimate mentoring program, hypno salon, marketing for no bullshit mark. I've done all these. So I've done so many of them, and I've also done I've done workshops all around Australia and in New Zealand.
Not to mention your mastermind series you had.
Yeah, and my mastermind I did for 3 years. So I'm a prolific content producer. I know the ins and outs, the good ways, the hard ways, the stupid ways, and I know the tools, and I know all the objections and myths, and, you know, all the limiting beliefs that people have, because I've helped so many hypnotherapists do stuff. So yeah. And so the format would be like, you know, online before, common thing, oh, I can't make it. What if I can't make that time? Well, there'll be a recording. Watch the recording. If you've got a question, post a question. You can never get everyone on time in a room. It's herding cats. But there'll always be a recording apart from the workshop itself.
Apart from the live workshop itself.
Yeah, which you can record if you want. I don't care. But that's not part of what I am offering. I'm offering the Zoom recordings for after the group calls afterwards, which there'll be, you know, 3 or 4 depending on how many you need. There'll be individual one-on-ones, 1 or 2 one-on-ones, and recording. So everything's recorded. And if you can't make it because you're picking up the kids, well, that's all right. Watch the recording. You don't miss out. In fact, some people who never turn up probably do the best.
That's exciting, isn't
it? So yeah, so that's the structure, the expectations, what they can expect to get. But what they have to have is an inkling of who they really want to work with. What would be, you know, what sort of thing would they really want to do? You know, oh, weight loss. Well, great. Well, let's make it a bit different. Anxiety. Well, great. Let's make it a hell of a lot different. You know, you've got to be able to separate yourself from the rest. You know, some people in my group, and again, it's because there's plenty of people from Melbourne in my past group, so I'm not going to talk about their stuff. But let's talk about Mel in New Zealand and the lazy hotness. You know, it's weight loss. Yeah, but it's not just doing, you know, virtual gastric band or something.
Yeah.
It's a lot more, and because you're doing a little bit, because you're stepping outside of the usual paradigm of a session where you're going, oh God, what am I going to say to this person in this session? You step outside of that paradigm, and then you've now got, there's so many different elements of content you can create and go into it. And personally, these days, I coach more than hypnotherapy. I've got one client, again, I can't mention a name, but extremely wealthy and a real entrepreneur in Australia, and most people would know his product. And he's an outside the box thinker, and he says to me, Clive, I don't want to sit here for an hour. I said, I don't want you to either. He says, is it okay if we do 10-minute sessions? I said, absolutely fine. Is it okay if we do a quick phone call every now and then? Absolutely fine. Is it okay if you help me work this out in my office? Absolutely fine. It just frees you from that structure. When you begin to operate like that, it just opens up so many possibilities. Then, all right, I've got a 1-hour session for smoking cessation. Like, oh God, dreading it. What am I going to say? Are they in trance? I just don't do that stuff anymore, and I get much better clients. Yeah, I think the idea is you move, if you can become, I mean, think of the big names in the hypnotherapy world. I mean, let's use Sheila, for example, Sheila Granger. When you think of Sheila Granger, you don't think of a session she's doing, do you really?
No.
You think of how she's helping hypnotherapists in business, teaching, setting up her schools.
Yep. Think of a program, essentially. Whenever everyone says Sheila Granger, you automatically think of the virtual gastric band program she's doing.
And so you think of like Freddie Jacquin.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think of him doing sessions. You think about all the different angles that he helps you and he coaches you through. Okay. Now, that's with other hypnotherapists. Now, with clients, it's the same damn thing. Because, what you're doing is guiding a client to their solution.
Mm.
So you're coaching them. You don't have to call yourself a coach. You can just call yourself the hotness guru.
And to not want to state the obvious, people that might suffer from anxiety or something like that aren't necessarily going to sit there and say, what I need is a hypnotherapist. What they want is someone who understands anxiety, can help me with this problem.
I have a problem. They can help me fix it.
Can you fix this?
Can you fix it? Donald Miller says, when you go to a website, am I in the right place? Can this person help me? How do I get in touch? Yeah. You have to answer those 3 questions within 3 seconds in website design. People want to know you can help them fix it. That's it. I know I can help people create courses. That's it. Can they get in contact? Yes, they can. And are they in the right place? Yes, they are. And that's why I do well at what I do. So it's no more difficult than that. But people overcomplicate it. You can plagiarize till the cows come home, but my angle is to inject your own uniqueness into it. Like with Mel, it's her cheekiness.
I think also you're very good at pushing people into knowing what their niche should be, instead of being, because I've also seen the other extreme where people are really vague with who they help.
Or rigid with, no, you've got to do it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you must do it this way. There's one lady, she was doing one of my courses. She'll remain nameless. She was doing this course online over the year with me. And she come up with a really, really, really good idea, and she was putting it all together. Then she says, don't want to do this. It's not, she was going through the motions, and this is what always happens. People go, okay, we're going to do this. And then they come back and go, no, what I really want to do is this. So that's the beauty of the design process. I'm not creative. Yes, you are. It's just a stupid belief you've got. Once you get into the design process, then you start to see, hold on a second, what I really want to do is this. And there's some hilarious things that come up. Hilarious.
I think also the fact is they're probably not going to get to that point unless they start going down that road anyway.
No, and most 99% don't. They're just wannabes in terms of, I want to have a course. But they're fearful of, I can't get it out there, or I don't know how to do it, or who am I to think, I'm not that famous. Who's going to trust me? All these stupid reasons. But when you inject your authenticity, your unique angle, no one can compete with you. Simple as that. And that's what I encourage in people. Yeah.
And that's why people should look at doing this workshop on
Yeah.
November 26th and 27th. Yes, very, very soon.
Yeah. I guess finally, the other thing which I also bring, which some people know, not everyone knows, is I can construct a course through, from free in terms of delivery of it, all the way through to super high tech.
Yeah.
And I stay on top of all the tools, and people go, well, how do I host it? Or how do I get it out? Okay. What level of tech are you comfortable with? Because this doesn't have to be online. This could be you creating a structure for a face-to-face workshop at a conference.
Or a group workshop or any of those sorts.
Yeah. Because it's the model I follow. My model is create it as if you were teaching at a workshop, and now put together the PowerPoints, and now from them talking points create the content. That's always been my way. And this is not too different. But there is a process. So don't worry about, well, am I going to do it? Because people are always jumping to all the problems at the end.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a website. I don't know anything about ClickFunnels. I don't have a web page. I don't have Facebook. I don't have this. I don't have an email list. I don't have.
If we have to explain what hosting means, then that's an indication of their level of.
Yeah, well, don't host it. Just teach the mothers group around the corner. Oh, I don't know how to get in touch with them. Try going to the mother care, or what do you call the mother care shops around here in Australia? Bubble something or other. Can't remember. Where do all the mums hang out? Well, I know where they hang out in Sydney. They hang out down the park down here, drinking wine while the kids are playing on the swings. Every group has got a leader. Yeah. Someone who people. Oh, what did you do? What did you buy? What did you use? And everyone looks at that person as like there's a term maven. So they always say, oh, you've got to go see this. They've got that on sale. And all the others go. So when you can identify the leader in the kind of group you want to work with, and then you can approach them, you just need to approach one person. But you've got to have something. You can't talk about something you don't have. And that's the problem with most people wanting a course. They haven't put anything together. If you had a roadmap in front of you right now, and you spoke to this so for example, I will quickly show you one of mine, which I and this is completely fictitious. Okay. Completely fictitious course, which I put together. I'm not a mother. I don't have children. I know that might be,
I'm a bit shocked by it. Yeah.
I know that might sound unbelievable to you. Okay. But all I did is I went to Amazon. First of all, what I did is I figured out through a conversation what some mothers' problems are. New mums, for example. Here we go. And I went to Amazon to look at books which were about new motherhood. I just saw the repeating major problems. Mothers I created the Empowered Mother program. And it's combination of mums feeling unsupported, struggling. They don't even know what to do. Oh, no one told me about this. Oh, I didn't know the kid was going to grow up and start eating stuff off the shelf. Oh, I didn't know they were going to get so much bigger. And I didn't know they were going to start. And so basically, it's just three. And my husband never helps me. So this is a fractal, a repeating psychological or physical problem in nature. And I just follow the model of if you're on the airline, put on your mask first before you help someone else. So phase one is self-care. And I got some of these from some books on Amazon, okay? Phase two, a bit of education around baby care, because some people have got no idea. And it makes them anxious. I once heard somebody say, I actually think I'm going to break the baby because I don't know if it's the right thing or not. So if I knew anything about motherhood, I'd be able to talk about this, but I'd also be able to embed it in maybe an audio or even trance or something like that. Because every one of these has got limiting beliefs and concerns and anxieties. And then I go to family care, which is how to get conversations started to overcome all that tension, to get the support you need. So that's a completely fictitious program. But I know I could go to, I've got a friend who's in one of those yummy mummy groups.
Mm-hmm.
And she is she's the hub of the wheel. And she would know a dozen women who would benefit from this if this was real. So it's not about advertising or marketing. It's about demonstrating and speaking to the right people. So maybe I should do a healthcare for hypnotherapists.
All the ideas are beginning to happen. So
that's about it, really.
Help advertise a training, walk out with a whole new training offer forming right away.
No, I think that's called supervision.
Yeah. I'll let you go for today, okay, Clive. But if people have any questions, feel free to email them through to me on Lawrence, LAWRENCE @releasehypnosis.com.au.
Is release hypnosis for people who just come out of jail?
Yes, it is. It's for those that have got a cell block tango happening. Need to be free of that. And of course, if you're interested in the training, email me as well. We'll organize how to get you on board. But Clive, thanks for your time today.
I thought I might throw this in as well. There is an alternative, of course, if people are thinking, well, I really want to do this, but I can't make that bloody workshop. Okay. And that'll be the question. Oh, Christmas is coming. We could do the whole damn thing online.
We could do that. Yeah.
Easy. And then with what I did with the previous group, we did it all online. And because a lot of them were in Melbourne, I went down to Melbourne for a day and we sort of did some stuff. And people were zooming in from the Gold Coast and from New Zealand and from Jakarta.
So maybe we'll just open that out there. If people are interested but can't make it on site on the day, or if they're not in Melbourne, reach out. Let's make this happen.
It would only be about the 30th time I've done it, but I make it happen every time. Yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Thanks again, Clive. No worries. Let you go. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see everyone around.
Cool. And you stop recording.